Alright, I'm making another video because I forgot to add this into the trade recap and I want to start doing this. Um, but this is just a trading psych refinement system. So the trading psych refinement loop, this is your weekly feedback loop to measure progress and refine psychology. Track every trade in your psychology. Did I follow my plan today? A plus setup. B. Today, my A plus setup, so we ended up having a buy side liquidity sweep. Uh, we had a 5 minute break of structure to the downside. We retraced into a 5 minute bullish fair value gap, and we ended up getting a 1 minute break of structure and a 1 minute inverse fair value gap out of that. Um, and take profits 1 to 1 to 2. That's when I'm looking at my sheet for my trading rules. Entry criteria examples for A plus. That's A plus because that's 4 to 5 confluences right there. Um, Anything that could have been better maybe is equilibrium, but we didn't have that today. That would make it A plus. I would say this is probably A setup. What emotion got in the way? Emotion definitely when I entered in the trade. Let me just even go to the top step X. Let me go to the chart. Actually, I could just go to MES from the first trade, especially today. So when I first entered in on this trade, which is the 1 to 1.71, once we was this another 1 hour high or this a 30 minute? Hold on. I believe I took the setup on ES today. Yeah, it was ES. When I entered in, I was kind of worried for some reason that I just had fear that price might come down, and I had to talk to myself and remind myself that, hey, at the end of the day, win or lose, I do not care. Did my setup show in the market? Did my edge show in the market? This is a better question. Yes. Did I execute? Yes. And the whole point I had to remind myself is, in this, yes, I might be up money. Does not matter. It does not matter at the end of the day. I don't care if I'm up money or if I'm in drawdown. I'm not exiting out of the trade early, unless it comes down to my stop loss and stops me out, or it goes to my take profit. Then I can go and figure out, okay, what do I want to do? Stops to break even, just close out of the trade, or stops to break even and have multiple take profits, right? So, did I hesitate, force it, revenge trade, or avoid a valid setup? I'd say today you could say I hesitated, but the reason I hesitated was because I wanted to wait for that 1 minute inverse for value gap because we already got the 1 minute break of structure. So I wouldn't say I forced it because I could have just entered in on the 1 minute break of structure, but I wanted to have patience and just continue to wait to see maybe just that inverse, and then that's like boom, that's beautiful. I'll take that. Did I revenge trade? No. Or avoid a valid setup? No, I did not. We had the valid setups earlier, which you saw in the last video. That yes, I avoided those. I didn't see those setups, and I probably would have avoided them just because of the liquidity sweep that we might not have gotten. Rate 1 out of 10 confidence. My confidence today was quite low, but I kept reminding myself at the end of the day, it was like, hey, I'm going to be smart with this. I don't care win or lose. If my edge shows up the market, I'm going to execute. And it was a continuation model today. Like I said, my confidence at its highest personally right now is when I see reversal setups. With continuations, I just started understanding continuation models or trend continuations this last month. So, like literally at the end of July. So my confidence was a little low with that. Clarity, I felt pretty clear on what the market wanted to do today, and that was to go target this 4 hour fair value gap. Because it got to the point where I was like, I feel like we will want to come back up into here. And at this point, by the way, going through this, when we were entering in around here, you can see my position is right here. We had no other confluences on the 4 hour right there. No 4 hour highs, no nothing, no 4 hour fair value gaps on the 1 minute. We had no 1 hour, on the 1 hour. We have no 1 hour imbalances in between here. Maybe you could say right here, but that's right at the 4 hour fair value gap. And no 1 hour highs that we could go and tap into. On the 30 minute, another thing I noticed, we had no 30 minute highs or imbalances to target into. On the 15 minute, we had no highs or nothing to target into. Maybe we had this high, which I think I already entered in before this position. Yeah, because this is where I entered. We already got that. At this point, maybe this could have been my next high, but even if we go to the 5 minute, We go to the 5 minute. I think this is where we had an actual high that I marked out. Maybe right here. But I'd say that was a low. Down candle, up candle, lower low. Boom. So really, only thing we had to take profit on was the 4 hour fair value gap, bearish fair value gap, and at that point, I was like, you know what? We're getting all this bullish confirmation confluences to keep continuing this trend, but then where's it wanting to target? And I'm like, well, I'm not seeing any other things on the other time frames. I'm assuming it's going for the 4 hour. Like that's the big boy that it wants today, and that's exactly what it did. Focus was kind of shit today. I'm not gonna lie. Was on my phone a little during market open because I was on the market for 2 hours. Maybe that's another reason why I wasn't fully aware of the setup that formed earlier today that I missed out on. So focus could be better. Emotional control, I definitely felt some emotion today, but I was able to control it and just, once I entered the trade, enter in. Setup quality, like I said, with the setup quality, we had buy side liquidity sweep, 5 minute breaker structure to the downside. We get a breaker structure to the downside to then go tap into a 5 minute bullish fair value gap. We get a 1 minute breaker structure and a 1 minute inverse fair value gap out of there. That's high confluences. I'd say A or A plus. And then discipline. Today my discipline definitely could have been better, but I still have time to improve. I don't need to go deeper into detail on what I need to improve because me personally, I know what I need to work on. And then we have the weekly review every Sunday, 30-45 minutes. It's not Sunday yet, but I can go through that. Yeah, we have that. Let me just bring this back up. That's just one of the things I have. I have Google Sheets and everything. Like Google Sheets and everything on just what to go through. So I have like a visual progress tracker. What is this? I have that. Sorry, I'm looking at some other stuff. We have the pre-post trade questions. Before taking any trades, ask yourself, am I emotionally neutral? I basically already have this, but yeah, I was emotionally neutral. Am I trying to force anything? No. Does this setup meet all my criteria? Yes. Is my risk appropriate? Today it was. Am I okay with this trade being a loser? Yes, I was. Post-trade reflection. Did I follow my plan? Yes. How did I feel during the trade? Nervous. Did I exit too early or too late? I say I exited at a good time, but like I said, price continued to run on, but I had a bad week last week, so I wasn't wanting to be greedy today, and I was just taking my profits where I got them, and it was a good take profit point. What would I do differently the next time? Confidence. The more I go on and on, even if I have a bad week, forget about it and move on to the next week. Like I said, don't be greedy, but if we have that 4 hour gap, at the end of the day, just move stops to break even after my first take profit is hit and let it ride. And if I would have done that today, the trade would have continued on and I would have gotten a huge, huge risk reward. But I didn't do that today just because of my confidence from last week felt lower. But I was treating this like a brand new week, and it's only Tuesday. We still have the rest of the week to trade. And then track this every day I trade. I did. I think instead of writing this stuff too, except I have my Google Sheets, I'll put my stuff in there. But when it comes to this questionnaire stuff, I'm going to do that in my trade recaps to go through that. So in a year from now, I can look back on what I've improved on. On top of that, trade process tracker. Oh yeah, fill this out every Sunday. Use P&L tracker, trade recap notes to figure out answer to these questions. How many trades did I take? So far, one this week. What setups worked best? Were they A plus or B setups? I don't take C setups. What were my biggest psychological wins? Where did I break my rules? And what habits threw off my focus? Am I becoming more or less disciplined? Remember, confidence comes from keeping your word to yourself, repeating one step until mastered, reviewing your trades honestly, and quitting dopamine draining habits. Yeah, so that was the questionnaire for all this tomfoolery. I'll get this posted quite soon. I'm going to get the recap posted first, and then this will just be a post-trade questionnaire. Or I don't know what I'll name it yet, but it'll just be a psychology recap. Yeah, have a wonderful day.